Well, all right. This is my second time doing this, man. Welcome back or welcome to another edition of The Sales Life. And the sales life is just not for those in the sales profession. It's for those who are building life skills of selling. All right. So let me trip you out, man. I just did this episode. I'm using a platform that way we could be, we can stream on all three platforms, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and also Periscope. So we're live in all three of those. So, and I was wondering, man, that I was like, it kind of looks funny when I was sitting here talking and come to realize that, I had my microphone, my camera, all of that. I could see myself in the little thumbnail, but I didn't know I was supposed to take it over here and that way. So when I went back to look at the replay, it's nothing but a black screen. So welcome again to the sales life. The sales life is just not for those, man, in the sales profession. It is for those who are building the life skills of selling. So while we're waiting for people to jump on here, man, I want to urge you this, man. I don't want you to run out of tries. Don't ever run out of tries. And if you think about, man, sometimes we use the try as a defense mechanism, and we sometimes use it to defend ourselves, and sometimes we use it to we just beat ourselves up with it because we're frustrated. We're frustrated that it seems like it's just not working right for us. I don't ever want you to run out of tries because, so many times in sales, I'm trying, Marsh. I get the fact that you're trying to accomplish something big. And the fact that some days, dude, that you have to scratch and you have to claw to get there can be frustrating. And so I don't know, I keep trying and it's not coming together for me. Be grateful that you have the tries. And let me explain why. Is because Marcus Persons, who, if you don't know the name, he's the guy who developed the game Minecraft, and he sold it to Microsoft for like $2.5 billion. And he regretted doing that. One of the most depressing time he ever had in his life was once he sold it because he ran out of tries. Here was a guy who had $2.5 billion with a B, $2.5 billion. He can buy anything he wanted. He could go anywhere he wanted. But who do you share it with? Because a lot of times the people that you're surrounding yourself with, dude, they're out to get you. Hell, they'll murder you for millions of dollars. And so he ran out of tries. And so when you reach to the end of that, you reach to the summit of success and realize you can't breathe. It's not what you thought it was going to be. That can get depressing. So you're going to have those days, man, where you're frustrated, where it seems like, man, I keep trying. Thank God you keep trying, because that means you're still in the game. The fact that when you don't have any more tries, then you die. You're dead on the vine, and ain't nothing else coming together for you. So don't get frustrated in that and stay in the game, because there are things, man, that are coming your way, but it's all due to the tries. And that's what's wonderful about this. So let's rock out. This is with today's episode 591, man, comes from The Magic of Thinking Big, the book. Dude, I've read the book a few times. Let me get my notifications up. I've read the book a few times. I've read the book a few times. And, I really truthfully felt like that right now I haven't been thinking big enough. And sometimes I think too small for the podcast, for the sales life and its reach. And so I reread the book. I had some downtime. I said, you know what? I'm going to reread this book. And I came across something, man, that was super killer, man. I all the times I read it, I don't even remember reading this part. And he says, it's about mismanaged memory. And think about when you have low confidence. So when your confidence is low, what are you focused on? The losses. You ain't focused on the wins because you don't even see yourself winning. And so the reason why that is because what you're doing is you're making withdrawals on the deposits. And dude, you could have a killer month going. You could have 75% of your month in life has been going great. And then that last 20%, man, you string together a few losses. And dude, you're mad at the world. And all you start to do is, because you're depositing losses and that's all you're focused on, then obviously what you start withdrawing are more losses. You're in charge of your memory bank, man. And if you find that your confidence is low, if you're in the skids, man, especially in sales, dude, we know all about the skids. And if you find that you're on a rut in life and that confidence is low, it's due to, as Dr. Schwartz says, mismanaged memory. Because see, what you're doing is think about your memory bank. Okay. You're in charge of your bank. Anybody ask you what you do for a living, tell them you own a bank, your bank, memory bank. So think about your memory bank. And so when you're focused solely on the losses, then what you're doing is you're depositing the losses, the shoulda, woulda, couldas, the blames. And that's all you deposit. So that's all the funds that are available. And so you're throwing these losses, these blames, these pistivities, you're throwing all these things in there. And you're feeding on those things. Which is exactly why you have insufficient funds of success. Unsuccessful people dwell. Successful people duel. I want to say duel, D-U-A-L. So that way it rhymes. But unsuccessful people they dwell. And so they dwell only on the losses. They dwell on the almost, on if somebody would have helped me out, if I wasn't alone, they dwell on the neck rolls. This is what they dwell on. But successful people have the ability, still a loss, but they dual process it, meaning that what they do is it may be deposited as a loss, but it doesn't get invested as a loss. And they have the ability to break those things out. And they break it out in 3 different ways, man. What successful people do is they break it out. And so when they deposit it as a loss, it goes in. The first thing they do is they take ownership. Take ownership of it. Nothing changed for me until I took ownership of my life. Nothing changed for me until I took ownership of my demotion. I caused my demotion. I caused my bankruptcy. I caused my failed marriage. I did. I can't control everybody else. I did that. So it was a loss. I've had big losses. But then when I took ownership, then that set me up to be able to learn. Because you can't learn, dude, until you take ownership. It's not going to happen. And now what I can do is that now that I'm learning, I'm looking at it, I'm analyzing it, I'm not blaming. I'm not, wishing, the universe would have done something better for me. No. What do I learn from this? And then what successful people do is then they apply it forward. And I think about all the slick spots, man, I've had, all the ruts I've had in life. And I've lost my confidence. The reason why, and I'm going to talk about this on another episode, you lose your confidence because confidence is not a luxury. It's an investment. And it must be invested in every single day. You got to invest in your confidence every single day. Even if you're not getting the results that you want immediately, you have to invest confidence, meaning that I'm depositing the benefits every single day that support that confidence. Even though I may not be getting it, they support the confidence. So that way, when it reaches its tipping point and the confidence boils over, and you've had those times, man, where you're just exuding confidence. Then what happens is that confidence carries you on. But here's the fallacy to it all. Many times, once we start feeling very confident, we stop investing in the confidence. And you can't do that. So I think about the slick spots, man, that I've had. In the slick spots that I've been in, and my confidence was super low, and the losses intensified. And the reason being is because, and it's no wonder, it's because I was making withdrawals on negative deposits. Because all I was doing is depositing just a loss. And you're kicking the can down the road and you're all pissed off because it's not working for you. So no wonder it keeps not working for you. And the reason being is because that's all you're depositing. You're depositing loss, loss, loss. So what are you withdrawing? Loss, loss, loss. Dude, you're in charge of your memory. You're in charge of your memory. You're in charge of your deposits, and you're in charge of your withdrawals. I don't care what happens to you in your life. I don't care what happens for you in your life. I don't care what someone says or what somebody takes away from you, or the fact that you may be standing there all alone. You still have a bank. I can still make deposits today, no matter what. Oh, bro, I can make deposits today. And I can make withdrawals too. What are the withdrawals that you're willing to make today? So here's how you round the corner. Here's what successful people do. They don't dwell. That's what unsuccessful people do. And you may have done that. God knows I have. You don't dwell in it. You dual process it. So it goes in as a loss. We're depositing in the loss. Okay. It's a loss. We're depositing in our bank. So the loss goes in as a deposit. As a penny of the deposit. What happens is if you don't break the loss out, then the pennies keep getting added. More penny, loss, 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 loss. And before you know it, dude, you got a million pennies of losses. That's all you deposited. But successful people, what they do is they slide that penny of loss. It's a loss. But then what they do is they fragment it out. So you have to think of when you deposit something, now all of a sudden you got a mutual fund. And mutual funds, what do? You don't have just one stock. You're spreading you're spreading the wins and losses out, right? So what you're going to do is when you get a loss, man, you slide that penny in there, but then it becomes a mutual fund. You fragment the losses into 3 different accounts, 3 different mutual funds. Part of the fragment, I slide it into ownership. That's the first thing, because if you don't take ownership, you can't learn the other 2. So a fragment of that penny of that loss goes into ownership. Another fragment goes into the learns. It's not loss. Now it's becoming a learning experience. It only stays a loss if you stay that way, if you only look at it that way. But the losses, man, can get broken down into great, phenomenal lessons. So what is my role in this? What could I have done different? Who could I have associated differently? No blame, no shade, not out for vengeance. I'm out for success. So that's the learns. And then the last part of that penny of that loss gets slid into the application. How do I apply this forward? How long you stay losing depends on how fast you're willing to break down that loss and take ownership and make lessons out of it and apply those things forward. You're in charge of that, man. You're in charge of that. So, and here's what's beautiful about that. Even when you have another loss right on the heels of that, because I fragmented the losses, ownership, lessons, application, forward. Every time I lose, man, if I break those things out over time, they compound. See, when it went in as a penny, only as a loss, they compounded into more losses. But now that I broke those things out, they've broken out. Now those things, they're still adding up, but they're diversified. And they compound into wins. Your confidence, man, is super, super important. You got to have it, man. But the only reason why you lost it, number one, you didn't invest. I guess the two reasons. You didn't invest in it every single day. And so you coasted on that. And number two is you suffer from mismanaged memory. So you got a great bank in there. No matter what your situation is, no matter how dire it looks, you still got a memory bank. What are you going to deposit? And what you deposit depends on what you are able to withdraw. And if you're withdrawing the wrong results, then maybe you need to make better deposits. It's still a loss. It's not Pollyanna. Oh, I didn't lose. It's no big deal. No, you still have it. It's real, man. Hell yeah, it hurts. Hell yeah, it's frustrating. Hell yeah, I'm tired of trying. Trying's a blessing. Don't forget that. And then I just recalibrate my memory a little bit. And I break those. If I'm going to lose, man, I'm going to learn from it. I ain't just going to stay. It ain't going to stay a loss. You better break that thing down. All right. So the Sales Life podcast, the episode of the podcast, which is different version than what you're watching right now. It's a little bit longer version. That will be coming out as soon as I get off of this. I'm going to break that out. It'll be on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Deezer, man. We get a lot of airplay in France from the Deezer podcast app. I don't know why that is, but that's all fine and good. So if you're watching this live, man, leave me your takeaways, man. I definitely want to hear from you. If you're watching this on the replay, hashtag TSL, man. Let me know that you were here so that way I can acknowledge you and give you a shout out. So be sure and subscribe to the Sales Life podcast on the podcast. And also share this one as well, man. If someone needs to hear from you on this one, please share it, because that's the only way, man, we get these messages out. I don't come on here talking about any politics or anything like that. I come on here just so that way to prime your mind, man, so that way you can get something of value and apply it to your life and get on and get out with it. So with that, remember, the greatest sale that you'll ever make is to sell you on you. Remember, you're amazing. Stay amazing. Stay in the sales life.